Hi, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com. Today we're going to make tapioca pudding, and this is what it looks like. This is a sweet milk-based dessert. Really, I would call it a vanilla pudding, only it has this really unique texture which comes from the tapioca. And then you can have a plain, or I've kind of dressed it up here with a dollop of whipped cream and some chopped pistachio nuts. So essentially this is a pudding is a cooked custard that we're going to do on the stove top. So you will need like a medium-sized saucepan, and like I said, it's milk-based. So you will need 2 cups, that's 480 milliliters of whole milk or full-fat milk. I already have that in my saucepan. And then, puddings are all about texture, that really rich and smooth, creamy texture. So we're going to add some heavy whipping cream. And I'm going to add a half a cup, 120 milliliters of heavy whipping cream or heavy cream. And that's cream with about a 35% butterfat content. Now, I know the question is going to be, could I use other types of milk? Sure. I mean, you could maybe substitute some coconut milk. This is exactly how my mother used to make when I was a kid, so I'm just using regular milk here. And then we need to sweeten it. I'm using about 1/3 of a cup plus 1 tablespoon, which would be about 80 grams of granulated white sugar. You can vary that depending on how sweet you want your pudding to taste. And then, of course, just like a pinch, 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt to bring out all those flavors. And then, we need to thicken it up, plus to add even more richness. I have 1 large egg here, have it at room temperature, and I'm just going to beat that before we add it to our milk. You can use a fork. I'm just using a whisk here. Okay, and just add that. Now, we are going to add some vanilla for flavoring. I'm just going, like I said, I'm doing it how my mom used to do it. And so she just used vanilla extract. So, and you don't want to add vanilla extract when it's cooking because it's better to add it at the end. So now, if you wanted to use a vanilla bean, you could. And if you're going to do that, you could use, take the seeds, cut your vanilla bean and remove the seeds and add that right now. And then, of course, tapioca pudding needs tapioca. Now, there's different types of tapioca. I am using you could call it minute or quick cooking or instant. And this is it's just little tiny grains. And actually, the tapioca has been pre-cooked and then dehydrated. And the reason, I use this, it just very instant, you don't have to let it soak. There is also what is called like a pellet tapioca, and that is, or pearl, and that typically needs to be soaked longer. But like I said, I'm using just like my mom. So I'm using a scant 2.5 tablespoons. It's about 25 grams of the tapioca. And essentially this is tapioca doesn't have it doesn't really have any flavor. What it's about is it's the texture it gives the pudding, and it is a thickener. Sometimes your fruit pies call for this, the instant tapioca as a thickener. So what I'm doing is just stirring everything together. And then I'm just going to let this sit, maybe 5 minutes, and when we come back, we will cook our pudding. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes, so we're going to cook our pudding. So just put it on your stove top, and then you want to put it on medium heat, because what we're going to do is cook this slowly and bring it up just to a boil. And you want to stir it constantly, and so we don't want to burn on the bottom or scorch or any of that. We don't want that the egg to curdle or anything, so we're going to stir it constantly, medium heat, and just to a boil. That will take, probably take around 10 minutes. Okay, we're just starting to boil now. Okay, so take that off the heat. And then what I'm going to do, you don't have to do this at home necessarily, but I'm going to, just so you can see what I'm doing, I'm going to pour this into a bowl. And then, okay, we need our vanilla. So I'm going to add about 1 1/4 teaspoons, about 5 grams of pure vanilla extract. Try to use a pure, it's much better flavor, and you know, really, basically it's the vanilla and the sugar that flavors this pudding. So we want to make sure we have a good vanilla, and then just stir it. Now, as you can see, you kind of go, whoa, it's really liquid. And that's the cool thing about this pudding, because the tapioca, I don't know whether you can see it now, it's really tiny. And what happens, we're going to now let this sit for about 15 minutes. And what happens is that tapioca is going to absorb the milk, and it's going to swell and it become opaque in color. And then that's what gives it, our pudding, that really cool texture. So what I'm going to do now, there's 2 ways to have your pudding. Some people like that skin on the top. I do not like that. So I want to let this sit and cool down a little. So I'm going to cover it with some plastic wrap, because I really don't like that skin. If you do, then you can just let your pudding sit without the plastic wrap. And because I want the steam to escape, I'm just going to poke a few holes in my plastic wrap. So now I'm going to let that sit like this. So like I said, that tapioca, and that's what's going to give us the more firm texture. So I'm going to let it sit about 15 minutes, and then when we come back, we will try it. Okay, so it's now been about 15 minutes. So I'm just going to remove that and give it a quick stir. So as you can see, it has thickened up from 15 minutes ago when we first took it off the stove. But it's still quite liquid. But keep in mind, if you look how liquid that is, and this I made yesterday, look how it's very firm, hardly moves at all. So it will continue to thicken up when we put it into the refrigerator. So I'm just going to give that a quick stir. But you know, if you make this and after you've refrigerated and it firms up, if you go, nah, it's either too thick or not thick enough, you can vary the amount of the tapioca you're using to your personal preference, which is what it's all about, right? What you like. So now what you want to do is divide it into servings. You know, the serving size is up to you. I find this 4 to 6. It depends how much you like pudding. Keep in mind, like, it is quite rich. So, and you could use, like I'm using these little cute ramekins. And I'm just using a ladle. You could use some kind of spoon, because as you know, see, it's pretty liquid. But it's kind of cool. You can kind of see the texture of that tapioca. It's kind of swelled, and it's very opaque in color. It's like a vanilla pudding with texture. So, or you could just use a glass, like I'm using here. Little teacups would be cute. I mean, really, it depends. If you want to serve it to guests, you might want to use something, like a pretty bowl. If you're just doing it for yourself, a soup bowl would be fine. So just put it in there like that, as much as you want. And then what we're going to do is, again, with that skin, do you like the skin on top of your pudding or not? If you do want a skin to form, then you would put that into the refrigerator for a bit, let the skin form, and then cover it with some plastic wrap. I don't, like I said, so what I do is I cover it immediately. And you can make these the day before, because they need to be in the fridge if you want them really firm. Day before, 4 or 5 hours. But actually, and how you serve them, like here I've done it with some whipped cream and some chopped pistachios. any kind of nut would be good. You could actually, or some grated chocolate would be nice too. Or you could use like a jam or a preserve or a thick fruit sauce would be very nice. I mean, really, whatever you like. But, if you like, I don't mind, like you can see, it's still pretty liquid, but I don't mind that. And I do like my tapioca pudding warm, so I'm going to try it. Yeah, that's, if you like a vanilla pudding, tapioca pudding is, it's just, that milk and cream, it's so rich, it's creamy, and then you got that unique texture. It's hard to even explain from the tapioca. But, you know what? I think it's perfect in the winter and fall. So enjoy, and until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com.